All right, welcome back. This is Intermediate Coding in Minecraft with your favorite computer science teacher, Mr. Pitts, and we just wrapped up the lesson 4 challenge assessment, which means we're going to be headed into, that's right, you guessed it, lesson 5, which is going to be loops. Yeah, loops. Just a quick reminder, here's your transport computer, NPC, lesson guide person to take you forward or backward should you need it. So we're going to be headed into lesson 5, loops today. Very exciting stuff. Loops are the thing that allow us to repeat code over and over and over again without having to write the code over and over and over again. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So let's jump into it and get started. Let's talk to this NPC here with the big flashy triangle arrow thingy above his head. Loops are used in computer programs to perform the same operation multiple times. Looping can also be known as iteration. So what you want to know is that if we're doing a repeat 3, then each time through the loop is a separate iteration. And that's the word that we use for going through the loop over and over again, iteration. So you want to make sure you jot that down. Can you think of a time when you had to repeat the same process over and over multiple times, even something you only had to do exactly the same twice rather than hundreds of times? I would say, maybe like peeling potatoes, for example. You got to peel a bunch of potatoes. It's the same thing over and over and over again. Each potato is a little bit differently, but it's the same process, right? And so, boy, wouldn't that be great if I could just peel one potato and then hit the computer program for repeat to repeat for all of the potatoes. There's a good example. Can you think of one? If you can think of one, throw that in the comments. It's some of the ones we get in class or getting ready for school, brushing your teeth, that sort of thing. So, loops, again, are used in computer programs to perform the same operation multiple times. What if you could do these processes once and then automatically repeat exactly the same steps to reproduce as many times as you wish? So, in MakeCode, there's a number of different types of loop blocks, which we will look at. Some loops are very similar, and the same result could be reached by using different types of loops. So we have a lot of flexibility when it comes to loops. Now, keep in mind, loops will be found in the loops drawer. Absolutely. Repeat loops, very simple. They will repeat a number of blocks a specified number of times. Takes a number variable, either an actual number in there or a number variable, to give the code a number of times to run. The number can be a fixed number or a variable and referred to as the loop control variable as it controls the number of times the loop will run. Any blocks placed inside the repeat will be run one after the other, the number of times specified in the loop control variable, and I'll explain that in greater detail. While loops. I like to think of while loops as the if loop, right? So while loops will repeat a number of blocks while a condition is true. It takes a Boolean variable to determine if the block's code will run. Of course, you definitely don't want to use while true because that will repeat over and over and over again and never stop. Essentially, a while loop will stop or exit once we get to a false. Once that happens, we exit out the while loop. But as long as this comparison here is true, we're going to do this code over again. Come back out, check and see if it's true again. Run the code. Come back out, check and see if it's true again. Run the code until we get a false. So they give us an example here of while loops. And basically what's going to happen is when you type build, the agent will teleport to the player first. Then the agent will change his active slot to 1. Then we're going to do a check and see if the agent item count in slot 1 is 1 or more, so greater than 0. Then we're going to move forward and place back. So then we're going to come back up, check and see if the inventory item count in slot 1 is greater than 0. If so, we'll move forward and place back. So basically what this code is going to do is going to run move forward and place back, move forward and place back until the agent runs out of inventory. Because the only thing that will make this Boolean comparison false is when the item count from slot 1 is not greater than 0. Therefore, it is 0. Right? There's a good example. Lastly, we're going to look at some for loops. For loops will repeat a number of blocks depending on the value of the loop control variable. Essentially, this is a repeat. I usually draw this out in class, but essentially what you have is an index where you and I start counting, and we start, let's say we count to 5. How would we do that? Ready? Let's count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However, in computer science, our computer arrays, our index, start at 0. So we wouldn't count to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We would count to 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Have to be different just because it's computer science. So just know that as far as this course is concerned, that the for index from 0 to 4 is the same exact thing as a repeat 5. So really, if you want to use the for index loop, what you could do is you could get a repeat block and then substitute the for index with whatever the control variable for the repeat was, minus 1. All right, since we start counting at 0 instead of 1. The advantage here is that inside of this loop, you can access the value of the loop control variable. So we can actually access index inside of the loop and do something different inside of that repeat loop based on how many times we've been through or what the number of the iteration is as we go through that index loop. So that's a pretty interesting thing. I don't think we actually use that in this class, but that's why the for index loop exists. If you have any questions on that, throw those in the comments and I will try my best to answer them. All right, so now we're going to head on in and talk to this NPC to get activity 1 started. Repeat loops, which we're going to use first. One of the many methods we can use to run a series of blocks multiple times. All right, so we're going to come in here to activity 1. We're going to use repeat loops to add some functionality to the Minecraft game. We're going to build an animal pen. I don't think we build the pen in the first activity, but maybe we do. Okay. Change this to build pen. Bonus points if you remember what it's called when you capitalize in the middle. You ready? Camel case. That's right. There you go. All right, so we named it build pen. We're going to go to agent drawer, agent place on move. Turn that on. Loops. We're going to grab a repeat. And then we're going to do an agent move forward by 1. Okay, let's pause and see what our code's going to do. When we type in the chat command build pen, number 1, agent's going to turn on place on move. Remember, this places a block in the block where the agent was every time he moves out of that block. Then we're going to run this repeat 4 times, move forward by 1. Very simple. So the agent will move forward by 1. Then we'll come down. That's the end of the repeat. We come back to the repeat 3 more times, move forward by 1. Come back to the top of the repeat 2 more times, move forward by 1. Come back to the top of the repeat 1 more time, move forward by 1. And then we're going to exit out the repeat and be done with the code. So in other words, we should see the agent move forward by 1 4 times. Same thing as move forward by 4. I'm going to make sure the agent is facing the right way. And also that he has some inventory. He does not. So it should be over here in this little chest. Plenty of spruce fences. And it refills. How about that? Okay. So give the agent spruce fence. And then we're going to do build pen. What was the name? 2, 3, and 4. Okay, there we go. That's activity 1. Here's your screenshot for lesson 5, activity 1. And we're going to complete that. Now, interestingly enough, the board says activity 1, part 2 of 2, but in the actual code says activity 2. Now the agent can build 1 fence. Let's extend the code so that the agent can build a square pen. made of the fence blocks. This is going to come in handy later. You definitely want to save this one here. So we come in, hit our reset area, make sure our agent's in the right spot, and then we're going to do activity 2. So in the last activity, activity 1, the agent just built 4 fence posts together. So let's just imagine that's kind of like one side of a square pin. So we get this code again. We're going to change the variable from 1 to 4. And then we're going to take an agent turn left after the move forward by 4. What it says, finally, if you test your code, now you may notice that the agent cannot complete the pin, as when it tries to place the last block, it cannot move forward because there's already a block in the way. To fix this, we're going to adjust the loop 3 times, and then we're going to place an agent move forward by 3 and an agent move left. So let's first take a second to what are they talking about here? So basically what's going to happen is when we run our code, we're going to go 4 times where we move forward by 4 and then turn left. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 and then turn left. 1, 2, 3, 4 and then turn left. 1, 2, 3, 4 and then turn left. And then the last should be 1, 2, 3. And when he's going to get here, there's already a fence post here. So the agent's not going to be able to make that last move forward by 4. So they suggest that the way we change that or fix that is to change it to do repeat 3. So we're going to do 3 sides of the square pin. And then we're just going to do a move forward by 3 at the end. And a move left by 1 to finish that up. So again, what's going to happen is he's going to go all around like this. And then that's the 3, repeat 3. And then he's going to go forward 1, 2, 3 times and then move left, which will still leave that fence post there. Okay. So this is the code for activity 2. We're going to do the 3 sides of the pin and then the last side with the move forward by 3 and the move left by 1. There's repeat 1, repeat 2, repeat 3, and then the last side of the pin. Beautiful. So you definitely want to make a note that this is an easy way to make a square shape. I want to save that for later. Hint, hint. Okay. All right. So now we're completed with activity 2. And we're going to head on through the unlocked door, up the stairs to the next NPC, who's looking very much like some kind of varsity jacket-wearing football player. Give this NPC a name. What do we think? Throw that in the comments. Tell me what this guy's name is. Always ask in class until I get a name that I'm personally satisfied with. So make it a good one. This is like a Brock or something. Look at him. He looks like an athlete. Anyway, so now we're going to look at while loops. They're another method we can use to run a series of blocks multiple times. Let's try creating them. Yes, let's. So we're going to walk in here, and this is activity 3. So in the activity, we'll use while. And in this program, we'll program our agent to mine blocks in front of it while we detect a certain type of block. On chat command, and we're going to change that chat command to mine. Loops drawer, we're going to drag a while false. And change the false to true. Not sure why it tells us here to change the false to true. There's a reason that the while is a default false. When you change it to true, then this code will always run and never stop until you press C to stop the code. So you want to be very careful in coding of what's called an infinite loop. Sometimes it can cause problems if you don't have a way to easily stop your code from running. So overload the computer depending on how fast the computer is running, all that good stuff. So you want to avoid an infinite loop. You want to avoid an accidental or unintentional infinite loop. There are times you might want to run one, like a timer or something like that. However, yeah, while true is a very dangerous thing. We're going to immediately remedy that with a comparison. And in the comparison, we're going to do an agent inspect block forward. And then we're going to compare that to the brick block. Okay. So then we're going to do agent destroy forward inside of the while and an agent move forward by 1. Okay, so again, like I said at the beginning, I sort of refer to this sometimes as the if loop, right? Because what we're going to do first is when we type in mine, we enter the while. The agent inspect will tell the agent what the content ID for the block in front of him is. So what's the block in front? Is that block equal to brick? If we get a true, then the agent will destroy that block and then move forward by 1. And then we'll try it again. Inspect the block, compare that to brick. If true, destroy forward, move forward by 1. Only until, and it'll keep doing that over and over and over and over again until this is false. So the agent inspects a block in front of it and it is not equal to brick, then we'll get a false. When that happens, we skip the code inside of the loop. We don't do it, and then we exit out of the loop, and there's nothing after that. So let's test this out. What would we expect? Well, we would expect the agent to break this and move forward, break this and move forward, break this and move forward, and then stop here, right? Because that's where we're going to get the inspect block forward is not equal to brick when we get to that gold ore. So let's test that out. And it would not have mattered if there were 3 brick blocks there or if there were 387 brick blocks there. The agent would keep going, chewing through them all until he got to one that was not brick. Okay, there's your code for activity 3 for lesson 5. All right, moving right along. Where's our door? Where is it? There it is. Head in. Here's the next NPC. It says activity 3. It's actually activity 4, I think. So we're going to use the for loops. Remember I told you at the beginning of the episode here, for loops are just like repeat loops for this class. However, you do have to use a little bit of math to get the numbers right, and you are able to reference the index, the loop control variable inside of the loop, which adds some extra flexibility and functionality there. So we're going to use the for loop here in activity 4. In this program, we will program our agent to build a wall of blocks of a length we can pass into the chat command. This sounds eerily reminiscent of build wall back in lesson 2. So let's see what we got here. Chat command, change it to build. Go to loops, drag out our for index. From the agent drawer, we're going to do move forward by 1 and an agent place back. So we have to change that forward to back. This will cause our agent to move forward by 1 and lay a block behind them. If we run our code now, the agent will place 5 blocks. Remember, we start with 0, so we would count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which would give us 5 iterations through this loop. Next, we're going to change the chat command by pressing the plus to add a variable. And then we're going to rename the variable to length. Again, reminiscent of lesson 2 build wall. Okay. Then we're going to find length and we're going to drag that in where the number 4 is in the loop. This is also not how I would run this code, and we'll talk about it here in just a quick second. But if I type in build 3, how many blocks will I get? Build 3 equals how many blocks? Throw that in the chat for me. Index from 0 to 3 would give us 4 blocks. 0, 1, 2, and 3. Right? So I don't like this code because if I type build 3, I would want 3 blocks, not 4. So the way you would fix that is by using the math, which we don't have access to in this particular activity. You go to math and change it to length -1. And that's how you use a 4 index loop to get it to be just like a repeat loop, is you add -1 here. But for now, this is what they want us to do, so let's test this out. Okay, make sure he has some inventory, and let's do build 2. And if we do build 2, we should get how many posts? 3. Yes, 0, 1, and 2 gives us 3 posts. Here we go. So it says here, did you notice? So they knew it was an issue. Did you notice how many blocks we placed? We specified that we wanted a wall of 3 by pressing the number 3, but the agent placed 4 blocks. So again, you always get one more because we start counting from 0. So we always want to put a -1 here to offset that. This is our screenshot for activity 4 for credit for that. Beautiful, completed. And then we're moving on to, oh yes, that's right, the lesson 5 loops challenge assessment. Here it is. We finally made it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is the what we've been waiting for. All right, let's get into it. So remember, talk to the NPC. This is going to take you to codingcredentials.com. If that's where your instructor's having you upload your assessment MakeCode files. So again, step number 1 to solving a problem is understanding the problem. So let's do that. Using MakeCode, you can create some code which responds to the chat command build house. So number 1, right off the bat, we know we're going to use a chat command called build house, which will build the 4 walls of a house with no roof or doors or windows, which you could then convert into a building. Use brick block and have the structure be the length of 5 and a height of 4. So the good news for this challenge assessment is they go ahead and give us the length and the height. So the walls should all be 5 blocks long, and the height of the building, if you will, the house, if you will, should be a height of 4. Really isn't a house, it's a box with no top or bottom on it. So really just 4 walls, or a 3D square, if you will. So if you go back to activity 2 in lesson 5, we built the square. There was a code to build the square. So what you want to do is modify, expand that code so that it builds that square 5 by 5, but 4 blocks tall. Okay. Some of the rubrics that I've seen require you to use a 4 index loop. Check with your instructor to see if you have to use a 4 index loop, or if you need to use or can use a repeat loop. Either way, just know that if you use the 4 index loop, remember you have to do the -1 piece so that you don't end up with an extra block off of that. Okay? All right, and as always, what's going to happen next is I will leave you to it, let you code your assessment, and then what I'm going to do is upload the lesson 5 challenge assessment supplemental. That way, once you're done, you've turned in your code, you just want to double check and make sure you got it 100% correct. You'll be able to do that right back here on my channel. So again, thank you so much for watching, for staying in, for learning some coding. This has been lesson 5, loops, with your favorite computer science teacher, Mr. Pitts. Hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Good luck with the assessment, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Have a great one. Bye.